Welcome back to the Michael Jackson Annual Report. We have gone album by album through the Motown years. We started out with Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5, and we moved all the way to Moving Violation and Forever Michael, released in 1975. Both the group album and the solo album were the last albums on Motown. We have documented the reasons why. We have documented with each album some of the frustrations. You could hear it in the music. All of that is there up to this point. And today we are finally going to close out that chapter and move forward. If I'm not mistaken, we have 12 albums and one era, and we're going to do one final ranking before we move forward. And after this, we're on to the non Motown years, everybody. So before we do the countdown, let me kind of go through a little bit of how we got here. Every album, for those of you that have followed, for those of you that have not, was scored on a 60-point scale. And they were broken down into tiers, 4 tiers. And basically, 4 is the best. You know, you have a great record. Tier 3 is like something that's solid. Tier 2 has a couple of joints, and tier 1 is just for historical purposes only. Like, you don't even really need to listen to it. When two albums had the same identical score, and I need to try to figure out a way to prevent that from happening, but math is math. I don't really want to leave it up to just a coin flip, so to speak. So I went back and I listened to some of my favorite songs from the albums that had a tie. And then from there, I kind of went with, um, well, it's kind of like that head to head kind of battle. It was like this face off that they had to be the winner in that spot. So that's how that was ultimately decided. And there were 3 ties, actually. We had Get It Together and Ben. So it was Ben versus Get It Together. There was Dancing Machine versus the third album. And then you had Music and Me versus Skywriter. At number 13, Skywriter. This was one of the first albums where I was like, there is a problem at Motown, if I recall correctly. It is dead last. The story is on the channel. Go listen to it. But this album had no direction, no concept, not even really any hits on it as well. Right after that, of course, is Music and Me, which tied with Skywriter on paper, but it had enough songs that I liked in order to break the tie. It's still a relatively you can skip it album, but there were enough moments on it for it to get the slight edge over Skywriter. After that, we have Moving Violation, which is the last album that they did as a group. The Jackson 5 did as a group on Motown. Um, you can hear, I won't necessarily say they were running out of ideas, but it's like the Motown formula that we talked about as we went through all the albums, that they were just trying to replicate that formula, and it just didn't work on this particular album. Right after that, we have Looking Through the Windows, which is tier 2. Moving Violation was tier 2, which just has a couple of joints on it. Same thing with Looking Through the Windows. Now, I do remember listening to like a couple of live albums that they put out at the time, and it does sound better live as they do it. But for the most part, and it became catchy because I kept hearing it over again. But for the most part, it's all right. It's just a couple of joints on it. We have Forever Michael. This was Michael's last Motown solo album before he moved over to Epic, and it is the highest out of the tier 2 albums on the list. Um, the ballads on here are one of the ones that stand out for me, and some of the ones that I like. But outside of that, it's a bunch of filler songs on here. Number 8 is Got to Be There. I think this one got a 33. Got a couple of, some really good joints on here that I like. Got to be there. I want to be where you are. Don't take your love away. So that one is good as well. After that, you have ABC. Honestly, I was surprised this one wasn't as low as it was. Um, Everybody know the songs. They had a couple of joints on there actually, but I think that the rest of the songs on it were mostly filler, and I think that was the issue that I had when I kinda looked back at it and kinda skimmed through it. Right after that is Maybe Tomorrow. Now, here's when I was putting this together, um, I honestly was going back and forth between Maybe Tomorrow and ABC, but I'm going to stay true to the score. And Maybe Tomorrow had a higher score than ABC. Therefore, um, I just went with that. I wasn't going to get into the process of rescoring the albums for this. Just want to go with what I had, which is why I came up with the tiebreaker joint. So Maybe Tomorrow, which has one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs of all time on there, or Jackson songs on there, which is Maybe Tomorrow. Number five is third album. That one lost this tiebreaker to Dancing Machine. And when I went back and revisited both of the albums, third albums had some good records on there, but Dancing Machine had a lot more than I remember when I kind of initially put together the list. And that one won out. So that one's also in the tier three. I'll give the tiers after we're done here. Number three, we're getting to the nitty gritty now. So yeah. But number four is Dancing Machine, just for the record. I don't know if I said that or not. Number three is Get It Together. I absolutely loved that album when I listened to it and when I reviewed it. It was definitely one of the spotlights of this process up to this point. Really, really good album and a good way. They felt rejuvenated. Go listen, go watch that review, that discussion on that album. But love that one. So I thought it was going to be higher. I thought when I came up with this idea that it was probably going to either be one of two, but alas, it did not. Number two, Ben. Ben became one of my favorite Michael Jackson solo albums from the Motown era. I don't know where it's going to rank where we're done with MJ. It's probably definitely not going to be in the top three or four, I'm sure. But out of this Motown era, it has one of the album has more songs, a lot of songs that I like. A really, really, really great record. I remember when I was doing that one and kind of looking at some just critic response to see how well it did when it was released, and people were speaking highly of it. And my first couple of listens, I was like, I liked the album, but I didn't feel it the way that they did. And the more I played it, the more and more I fell in love with it. So Ben is number two, which leaves the number one album out of the Motown era is Diana Ross Presents the Jackson Five, the highest score out of all the albums that I have covered out of this batch. I went back and skimmed through it. It still holds up. I honestly thought when I sat down, and so what I did was, well, I'll get to that in a second, but damn near every song hit for me. And at first I thought, I was like, well, maybe I was just a little too high on it because I was excited to start it out and just in that highly discovery phase. But no, 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 no. I think it held up. Um, Funny enough, I think when I started to put this thing together, which I'm gonna go back to what I was gonna say, is that I just kind of before I used the scorecards, I just list the albums that I would rank just off memory. And then I was like, wait a minute, I actually scored these albums. I actually have like material that I can use to rank it. I don't have to just kind of go off feel, and that's where we got. And when I looked at the score for this album was 49 out of 60. And this is why I like these scorecards. There's a flaw in everything, and I'm sure there are some flaws and holes I could poke in it when I sit there and look at it and analyze it enough. But nevertheless, it gave me a good foundation to start, and then a good reference to start when I go back and listen to it and just kind of see if like my thoughts have changed since then. And it did not. So it's good to see that for the most part, all of my scores held up. And this one did, because if I didn't have the scorecards, Get It Together probably would have been first, this second, and then Ben maybe third, but the scorecards did their job. So real quick before we close out, I'll give you the actual tiers for each album. But before we do that, let's get into our soundtrack for today, and that is Never Can Say Goodbye, because that is exactly what we are about to do. We are about to say goodbye to the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson Motown era, and we're about to move on. And so, without further ado, let's put the needle on the track for the Motown era one final time.
I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. I never, 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 never can say goodbye. Even though the pain and heartaches seem to follow me wherever I go. Though I try and try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. And you try to steal it in me, and I always have to say no. Tell me why. Tell me why. Is it so? Is it so? No, no. I never, 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 never gonna say goodbye. I never can say goodbye. Every time I think I've had enough, started and felt the joy, there's a thing, a piece of me right to the core. This time around you, I love I'm going for. Tell me why. Is it so? Wanna let you go? Come on, I can say goodbye, girl. Ooh yeah, I can say goodbye. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I got to, yeah. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I got to, yeah.
What a way. What a way to close out the Motown era with that remix of Never Can Say Goodbye that was live in 1974 on the Johnny Carson Show. They got so into it that even Jermaine had to get him a little piece of it. I don't even know if that was part of the routine. He just felt it. He felt the gospel. And did you guys see Jackie's face when Michael started singing? Oh man, hey man, these brothers were special, 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 and the harmonies and everything was so on point, so on point. I felt like wrapping this up, concluding this era before we move on to this completely different era with completely different hits and completely different sound. Closing this thing out with Never Can Say Goodbye was the only way to do it, and that's why it was the soundtrack for today. We're gonna leave it right there, and we are about to move into the next era. I'm really looking forward to this. I know you are too. So we're gonna leave it here, and we're gonna say goodbye to Motown, and we're gonna move forward with the next Jackson 5 album. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.